Here we go. 1, 2, 3. On the first week of Mossmas, my true love gave to me an unfinished trilogy.
There we go. There we go. We got it. We said week of Mossmas, right?
Oh, fuck. okay. One more time. We can do this. I'm Melody Carlisle.
And I'm Sabrina Bradley.
And this is Heaving Bosoms. This is the podcast where best friends recap romance novels and other kissing media that makes us swoon, snark, and refills our cups.
Whether you've read the book or are coming in blind, we'll lay bare every delicious scene and revel in the tropes and subgenres that make romance amazing.
All right, listener, strap in and strap on. Headphones are highly recommended. Holy New World info dump, Batman.
Wait. Yeah, full disclosure from Git, I'm not going to remember 90% of these names, Melody.
I can try. I can do my best.
Well, the problem is, there's world names, there's place names, there's enemy names, there's
so many
not enemy names.
Words in this book. Capital letter words.
Hi, listener.
Listener!
Melody and I are here to kick off 12 weeks of Mossmas.
It's Mossmas! Happy Mossmas, everyone!
Merry Mossmas!
Merry Mossmas!
Yeah, we are reading all of Crescent City. So we're to give y'all a little bit of context, we're reading House of Earth and Blood. And we're doing the absolute bananas batshit thing of we've only read part 1 and part 2 of this book as of this recording.
Because we're only going to record about part 1 and part 2. And then we have to stop ourselves. And I'm being edged hard in a way that I don't know that I appreciate.
See, I'm lucky enough that I finished part 2 today. Yeah. Melody started screaming at me 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And complaining 2 days ago.
And then I'm such a maniac listener that instead of self-soothing with another read or whatever.
Yeah, it's not like we have to read Iron Flame or anything.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I know. I couldn't have that story in my head and keep this straight. So
that's fair.
I just went back to the beginning and I listened to it again. I listened to parts 1 and 2 over yesterday and today while I cleaned my house and baked and stuff. Yeah, it was serious business.
Yeah, and then you were an unhinged little turkey yesterday in the freaking episode announcement. You're so this is what we did for Thanksgiving. Also, ley lines, which, by the way, ley lines don't come into play until the last 3 pages of part 2.
I clocked it in chapter 1.
Shut up.
Yeah, I clocked
Sherlock
in
Holmes
is. I'm a Sherlock Holmes. Because when she was talking about the gate and setting all that stuff up, and she talks about first light so much, and the ley lines are the energy source or the natural pathways of the first light throughout the city. I clocked it then. I was like, ley lines are going to be a thing. It also feels very Sarah J. Maas, to make
it's okay.
ley
I
lines
also,
a thing.
there are certain things that, I have a lot of theories already.
And that's why we're not reading ahead, because we want you to see what either dumbasses or brilliant Sherlock Holmeses we are as we read this. So this is episode 1. I don't actually know how far we're going to get into it.
I
don't know that 12 weeks of Mossmas is actually going to be 12 weeks of Mossmas.
It might be 16 weeks of Mossmas.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. So we're going to see how far we get in a reasonable amount of time today. And then the rest of the Crescent City books, all of the episodes about the Crescent City books, yeah, they're going to be on Patreon.
The third book comes out like January 30th. So this is perfect timing.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, I'm so excited because I've wanted to get into this and I have been like vigilant about not getting any spoilers for Crescent City, but like not having a clue what this is.
I don't know shit about this or the Throne of Glass series.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about the Throne of Glass series
All
either.
I know is that there is a supposed theory that ties all three series together.
Yeah.
And all I know, somebody actually told me the theory, but me and my Swiss cheese brain, I don't know.
It's gone.
No idea. Especially because I had no context for most of what they were saying. And so I was just like,
Good talk. Yeah. No, and that's pretty much where I'm at right now. So I had no idea that Sarah J. Maas had written a contemporary fairy like detective noir situation.
Idea.
I had no idea. And I love a murder mystery.
Okay, so let's just jump in, okay?
Okay.
So this is broken up, listener, just if you haven't read the book before, this is broken up into 4 parts, okay? The first part's like 7 chapters. The second part's like 30 chapters. And then the third and fourth are like also like 30 or 40. There's a lot of chapters in this.
A lot of chapters.
Anyway, my very first note in the entire book is I'm like 4 pages in and I already have a billion questions. How many houses are there? This world has technology. Why is it so hot outside? Is this some weird fucked up version of Earth? Do they have seasons? Why is it so fucking hot? Why is she locked in this building with all of this stuff? Why is there somebody behind a metal door? Like I was just like so many questions from get-go.
Yeah. No, it was the first chapter info dump was serious business. I think it even goes into the second chapter. So we've got Bryce Quinlan. We meet her at the very beginning, and she is the personal assistant / she's she runs the life and business of an antiquities dealer.
Jasiba Roga.
Yeah. And it's wild, right? Because it's supposed to be like art and artifacts or whatever, but most of it is contraband. And she has to wear an amulet all the time to protect herself. That's so going to
come back. That's like, there's no way. Like, it has not yet, but like, there's no fucking way that this thing does not fucking save her ass in 8,000 different flavors.
I hear you.
Before the end of this series.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think one of the things that I sort of clocked at the beginning was, I was thinking, oh, does she like go out and is she the person who gets all of these artifacts and that's why she has to have the protection, whatever?
It's there to also protect her from the books that live in the library beneath the gallery, because the books are constantly trying to escape and like attack things and get back to the light
and eat people.
Yeah, like, and there's this cute little fire sprite who lives down there named Lahaba, and like she's adorable, and she watches like dramas that everybody calls Bangs and Fangs, and she's precious, and just delightful.
The crew in this little art gallery is so cute. But anyway, there's like a bang 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 on the iron door that is also enchanted against people getting in and things getting out.
Yeah, this is... I'd get so claustrophobic in there.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, there's no windows. But her BFF Danica is here. She is a wolf shifter. She is like one of the most powerfulest wolves, and she's an alpha of the Devil's Pack.
Pack of devils,
boys, the Pack of Devils.
Which, so like essentially the way that the city works, it's actually called Lunatheon, but they all call it, like, it's called Crescent City semi-colloquially kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she's like one of the guard packs of the city. So there's like a fae group that like prowls around and guards things. There's a wolf shifter group that prowls around and guards things.
There's an angel group.
that prowls around and guards things. And there's other types of guard groups, and they don't matter. So I don't remember what they are.
It's the big three. It's the top three ones.
Can I tell you something real quick, Melody?
Yeah.
I love romantasy. Okay. Like if I'm going to like, I know that I am on record for being like standalones or get the fuck out. I do love a romantasy though. Like a big overarching, like that shit's catnip to me. Mm-hmm. Also dystopian. If any of you have a really good dystopian romantasy style, fucking throw that shit my way. But I have read enough that we met Danica and I went, Sabrina, don't get attached. Literally the minute Danica got described, I was like, don't get attached. And guess the fuck what I did.
No, I was not a Sherlock Holmes in this moment. And so we have to go through it as we go through it. I'm sorry. I can't talk about it up top or it's not going to work. And I'm not going to be able to keep going.
Okay, well then let's talk about the second thing that made me go, okay.
Okay.
The quote, Micah's personal assassin with the rare gift of lightning in his veins could eliminate almost any threat. And I went, oh, we've already heard about the hero.
Oh, the Umbra Mortis.
Like, especially Sarah J. Maas novel. Like,
oh, yeah.
Of course it's the fucking broody motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, the shadow of death. His name is. So anyway, Danica's there and she has just like broken up a fight between two mythical creatures. And so she needs to take a quick shower before she goes to a really, really important meeting regarding a terrorist who she caught and now might get out on a technicality. So we can chat more about that in a minute. So she goes to the gallery and she has a very special sword. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's a wolf sword. And her grandpa did give it to her because her grandpa hates her mom because her mom's the worst. Her mom's name is Sabine. And I clocked this too from the beginning. I don't know if you did.
I did not.
I did. Oh, I did. The moment that they were like, she's never on guard duty at the Luna Temple. I was like, yeah, of course. And like the reason that Sabine like dressed her down for those murders happening on the same night she was there.
I did not catch that.
Okay, anyway, sorry.
At all.
So she goes down and she puts her sword into the storage closet. Mm-hmm. And I have questions about this later on.
Me too. Don't worry.
Do they not open the storage closet in 2 years? Did they not need anything?
We'll get there.
Toilet paper.
We'll fucking get there.
Okay. So anyway, then she borrows some clothes from Bryce, and then they're gonna like go for a walk. Bryce is gonna sort of like walk her as far as she can to go to the meeting and go to lunch something.
They stop by this wishy place though. So it's this place in the middle of the city where so back in ye olden times,
which is like 15,000 years ago.
Yeah. So back in ye olden times, this thing was used to communicate across the city. So essentially you give this thing like the tiniest little bit of power and then you speak into it and then the sound travels to
the other gates.
Like these places.
So each one is a gate in a section of the city. This is the quartz gate, I think, in like the heart part of the city.
Something. Too many names. Moving on.
Sure.
So they decide to. So my note is Bryce and Danica are about to make some kind of wish at a fancy thing in the middle of what seems to be the city square, and I'm getting a really, really bad feeling about what's coming. That's literally my first note about that.
Yes. And like I should have because this thing is like nowadays this is like everybody knows it's it's made up. Like this isn't a wishing thing, and it's only basically for tourists and children. But Danica is like, let's just stop and like do a quick wish together. Why don't we just do that?
Well, because like this is what like they do this together sometimes. It's also like one of the first things that they did when they came to the city together. Like it's a friend thing.
But it makes me, because before this, they'll like shout wishes to it when they're drunk off their faces, just walking through.
By the way,
square,
these kids,
not actually going up to it.
These kids are party animals.
They party hardy.
No
is what
shit.
They do. Holy,
you gonna get some booze, blow, and ball sacks. Like, they are not fucking around.
I was honestly impressed. But anyway,
so on this
was one of the things that I thought I got a bad feeling about this just because it seemed like since they didn't usually officially do it, it made me think, is Danica worried about something?
Well, yeah, and we don't get Danica's wish.
No.
She's quiet. Although Bryce is a little snarky asshole and is like, bucket. I wish that Danica gets her nails done because they look like a wreck. So, and this really, like, this is definitely going to come back, but there's a plaque on this that says the power shall always belong to those who give their lives to the city.
Oh, shit.
So now that we have a little bit more context, it's quite literally the power comes from the drop.
Yep.
So like looking back, yeah, but it did make my ominous feelings come back even harder. And also like, there's no way that like, that this is going to come back. I fully believe that this is going to come back.
Absolutely. Yeah. In one way or another. So, okay. So anyway,
Okay. No, you can.
What?
Well, so this is when Bryce makes a comment about how she and Danica will do everything together until forever. And I did already start tearing up.
Yeah. The friendship in the first 5 chapters of this book
is so good.
Because they have really become each other's family. And above everyone else. Like, so
they met at Crescent
Bryce,
City University in their freshman year, basically as roomies.
Yeah, they were automatically assigned to each other. And Bryce is half human, half fae. Nobody knows who her father is, and it's supposed to be a big, big secret. And
which, like, the people of Crescent City also not Sherlock Holmeses.
No, they're
like,
dumbasses.
The more I read this book, like, how does every single person in this city not know who Bryce's father is?
Yeah, because apparently she looks pretty much just like him as far as coloring goes.
She also went to live with him for weeks when she was 13.
Nobody saw her at that townhouse. Nobody saw
her shit thrown on the
her
porch.
bags on the sidewalk. Okay,
and I have to, everybody, like, take it all down to the fucking ferry subway.
Jesus. Yeah, no. So her dad is the Autumn King. He's the guy. He's the big bad,
big dick.
Yeah, he's the guy who runs Faytown. Okay, and all the Fay people who are in Vanguardia or whatever this land is called. So, anyway. Let's give him a little bit more about like the world, and then we can go into
because this is when we learn about the drop and what the drop is. Okay, so this is when we get our first taste of it. And so essentially the drop is literally the drop into immortality. So basically what happens is people do actually we don't learn all of this, so we'll just go along the way that we learn it in the book. Long story short, this drop into immortality, if you have some form of non-human magic, you can do the drop. Even if you're like half human, you might not be able to do the drop because you have to have some, there's something about you that has to have something that allows you to do this. And essentially it's not actual immortality, but depending on your race, it lengthens your life by...
you have to have a certain amount of magic. And if you have that amount of magic, then you are sort of not entitled to immortality, but you have the capability to live for much longer than a human would. So essentially, it's like, I think it's sort of a magical psychological thing. We don't super know, but you go into your power somehow, and then you have 6 minutes to fight your way back to your body, and you don't know what.
Well, because you hit the bottom. You hit the bottom of this like power abyss. And then that is when you reach immortality. It causes a bright flash of light, which we find out is how they power the city, which like, this shit is first effective.
Light. Yeah.
And then you have, like you said, you have 6 minutes to get back. And then you also have somebody you trust who is going to be your anchor and helps you back. And if you don't have a person, then they have government funded anchors that you can use.
they have public defenders of anchoring.
Yeah.
And you are entitled to them, and you may use them, and it is their duty to get you to do their best. So anyway, then the other situation is that this whole world is, is run by the, I forget
Asteri?
it. Asteri, thank you. Run by Asteri, and I don't know what an Asteri is at this point. I think it might be a type of angel. Who knows?
Well,
but
I don't know because the archangels are the big
Yeah.
baddie angels, and they're like the governors of all these places. So, like, what the fuck is an Asteri? Like a demigod?
I know. So it's run by the Asteri, and then angels are like the next in line, and then then you get like more and more oppressed the farther down you go in the power spectrum.
If you're a human,
ending
get
at humans.
Humans have been, lessers are treated even worse than humans.
Lowers.
I think. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
Same difference.
It depends on the type of low. Oh, no, you're right. Because lowers, I think, are automatically enslaved.
Yeah, sprites are lowers because of the rebellion. They literally got demoted to being lowers.
Yeah.
Chimeras are lowers. Basically, a lower is anything that is like has magical ability, but not enough.
Not like sentient enough.
But these are sentient creatures.
Maybe language is part of it. Like, I don't know.
Because
sprites are the weird ones, you know? Sprites, that's a punishment for sprites. Okay, so wait, stop that. So, the Asteri.
I just got
the
fussed,
angels.
Listener, live on podcast.
The Asteris, and then the angels, and then like, you know, everybody else is like pretty oppressed on a sliding scale. And this is worldwide, okay? Because like 15,000 years ago, rifts opened in the north and the south, and bitches came through that weren't human, and they were more powerful, and that's how it is now. And so
15,000 years.
Yeah.
Did we even have fire 15,000 years ago as a race?
I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm not an archaeologist.
But like, regardless, like
a dinosaur doer. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Anyway, Sabrina's like, when was the wheel made? And I'm just trying to get through the nuts and bolts of this fucking world.
I couldn't, like, when they said that they got enslaved 15,000 years ago, my brain immediately was like, that feels like a very long time ago.
I sort of saw like a black tunnel open in front of me. Like, whoa.
Like, oh my God. And then I was also a little bit like, why is the technology not better? You know?
Because magic. I thought that too. And then I was like, if you have magic from the start, you don't work as hard at technology. Except that oppressed
the Autumn King
people have been, because, okay, so this is all around the world. And every once in a while, somebody will get really pissed off about the stringent hierarchy, and they will do a rebellion. So 200 years ago, it was a bunch of angels who got together to be like, we should have a merit-based system and not this bullshit that we have now. Like,
and
we should be able to, like,
the fuck down.
Boy, they got stomped pretty hard.
They got obliterated. And like, I'm still not entirely sure how they got obliterated. Like, there's been a lot of hinting at it, but like, how did it happen? Why did it, like?
I mean, I know. If there's no more story behind that, then I have to think it's just numbers ? And like,
well, yeah, because they said that literally they've tried to do this rebellion with only like 3,000 warriors and like a bunch angels. Of like, that's not anything like, just based on the way they talk about this world, that is nothing compared to the hierarchy. Plus the archangels, y'all are fucking.
Yeah, I think it was like one archangel and like 3,000 lower boys.
Shahara.
Yeah,
Shahar.
And I don't know. Listen, they had a dream and they were going for it, and I wish they had succeeded probably.
But then we wouldn't have this book.
Then we wouldn't have this beautiful book. Okay. So now, in the now times of this book, in contemporary Bryce Quinlan times, in another country of this world, there is a rebellion that's being fought by humans. And so they keep on saying technology versus magic. It's never a good situation. And then the reason I brought all of that up, listener, is to say that Danica, the terrorist that she has like caught and who might get back out, he is trying to bring that human war over to Van Blardia or whatever this country's
And Crescent
name is.
City is the first place that the war would hit if they come across the ocean.
That's the one. Yeah. So anyway, she wolfs out and goes to her meeting and they're like, okay, I'll see you later. And then that night when Bryce gets back to her apartment, which she shares with Danica, and is it only those two? I don't know.
Yeah.
All of the wolves are there. The pack
it's
of
the only
devils
place
are there.
Yeah, and so like something of note, Danica makes like money hands over fists apparently, and could live basically anywhere in the city that she wants, but she knows that Bryce is too proud, and so they have the most expensive apartment that Bryce is able to afford, paying half of, and they live there because they're besties and they're really precious and cute.
And they're so sweet and wonderful. So when Bryce gets there, her plan is to like get in the shower and then go to a date.
It's wolf party pack time. She doesn't even remember she has a date yet. She gets reminded.
Oh, yeah.
In the kitchen.
Yeah.
So it's wolf party pack night where like all of these big or like these patrol groups only get one night off a week basically. And they're not allowed to do anything but chill the fuck out and hang out and apparently get real drunk and eat a lot of pizza.
They have to do bonding stuff. They have to
because they're
work
wolves.
together with the pack wolves. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she gets home and they're having wolf party pack time at the apartment. Okay.
And notably,
this is when
Connor
we meet
eye fucking her.
Connor and Bryce and Connor are very horny for each other
and they have been for 5 whole years. How does somebody keep it in their pants for 5 years?
Immediate, because Danica's made him swear to, and like, I'm not crossing
she
Danica.
Is the alpha.
Are
no,
you crossing Danica?
No, but also what Bryce kept in her pants. That's incredible.
Well, yeah.
I know, she's got other
Bryce
issues.
Bryce doesn't want an alpha hole, though.
Can I just say that was one of my favorite things every time that she like waxed poetic about being anti-alpha hole. Oh, I was so happy about it.
Don't worry, I highlighted a rant.
Yeah.
So she gets reminded that there's a date and like that she has a date with her current boyfriend, Reed. Stick up his ass, fucking human Reed.
He's a human who's rich. And he has a big company. Reed Industries,
says,
I think.
To Connor, because Connor gives her some shit, and she says, at least he's not some psychotic alpha hole who will demand a 3-day sex marathon and then call me his mate, lock me in his house, and never let me out again. Which was why Reed, human, okay at sex Reed, was perfect. And I was like, this is the most depressing thing I've ever heard in my life.
Right? I know. And then Danica says, you could use a 3-day sex fest. I think probably. But anyway, so Danica doesn't like this guy, even though Danica set her up with this guy. And I'm wondering.
Yeah, but Danica didn't know.
No, I know. But I'm wondering if this is something that's going to come back later. Because apparently it is unheard of for a member of the auxiliary, let alone an alpha, to have any other job. But Danica has a job at Reed Industries in security.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And I think it might come back. I think it might be a piece of the puzzle that's like dropped early on. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, probably not. So then
your mind.
Bryce gets a little bit of shit. Connor is like, please, for the love of God, give me a chance. And she's like, no, I don't date wolves. Gets ready. And as she's leaving, Danica says, I love you.
Wait. But before that, Danica finds out that the terrorist is out. He got released.
Yeah.
And so everybody's sort of on high alert because it's like Scary Town. And logically, his first target would be Danica and the pack that took him down. Yeah. So they're worried about that. But yeah, Connor's like, please let me take you out. And she's like, I don't date wolves and I don't date, like, I don't need another bossy wolf in my life. And he's like, I could spoil you and like I could treat you so right and like all the business. And she's like, I can't, Connor, goodbye.
Literally, the first thing that I thought when I met Connor and this was all happening, though, was I know that this isn't the hero, which means that this is going to end very badly.
Oh, I hate it. I didn't block any of that.
As Bryce is leaving, Danica says, I love you. And apparently it had taken Danica a while to say that, and she still used them sparingly. And she originally hated it when Bryce said them, said those words. But, quote, even when Bryce explained that she'd spent most of her life saying it just in case it was the last time, in case she wouldn't get to say goodbye to the people who mattered most.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's when I went, oh, that's why part 1 is so short. That was literally my thought.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
God, you're such a Sherlock Holmes.
No, it's just that I've read a lot of and like the very first part of this book hit I just don't get attached to anybody you meet in the first 50% of a fucking romantasy, okay?
God damn it.
None of them are safe. Melody, listen to me. None of them, when we eventually read Throne of Glass, that 50%, actually, there's like 18,000 books. The whole first book. Don't get attached. Don't fucking get attached. Don't do it. God.
Fucking words to live by. Because I got wrecked by this. Like, I was sending out angry video messages to people. I know. Not okay.
We got a comment on Instagram about it.
Yeah, poor Christina from the Flights of Fantasy podcast I took her down verbally, I'll tell you that much. It was ridiculous. So she goes to her date, and he takes her to like a fancy-ass place that doesn't actually feed you. They sort of like blow in your face, and they're like, are you full? And her date, Reed, is late. And Connor texts her as Reed gets there, and Connor says, I'm shit with talking, but what I wanted to say before you tried to get into a fight with me instead, by the way, was that I think it's worth it. You and me giving us a shot. I'm crazy about you. I don't want anyone else. I haven't for a long while. One date. If it doesn't work, then we'll deal with it, but just give me a chance, please. And she doesn't respond because Reed gets there. Oh, also, very notably, everyone, we didn't tell you this, but because Danica and Bryce are so close, their plan is to do the drop together, and they want to do that when they're 27. So, 4 years from now. They don't want to do it
if that's not a fucking, okay, you want to know another fucking insane thing that made me go, oh yeah, Danica's definitely dying?
No! What?
All of the celebrities who die at 27.
Oh.
Why'd they pick 27? Rationally, I know that that's not what is happening here, but I was like, of course it's 27 years old, which is the age that all of those celebrities died with white lighters in their pocket.
I have no idea what conspiracy theory you were talking about.
It's not even really a conspiracy. It's just it's just
white
a thing.
Lighters in their pockets.
That's why smokers don't like white lighters, because they're supposed to be bad luck, because so many people die with them in their pocket.
Oh,
supposedly.
Sure.
But there's also who are the people who die at 27? What's that one artist? Not Reese Witherspoon.
Wow. Nope.
What's the beehive lady?
Oh, God. I see her face.
It starts with an R,
mind.
Right? It's an RW initial. This is painful. Are you Googling it?
Go to rehab.
Yeah, but I said no. And then there's also Kurt Cobain, I think, was one of them. Doesn't he die at 27? There's a lot of musical artists who die at 27, and frankly,
Amy Winehouse. Whew.
Oh, I had the W initial right.
Yeah, Amy Winehouse. No, okay. So Ember just had Rockstar Day at his school, and he's got this. Oh my God, he's got this button-up flannel shirt that has a hood attached to it, and it is one of the cutest things I've ever seen in my goddamn life, especially on his tiny little body. And so I was like, you could go as Kurt Cobain, you can be a grunge rocker or whatever. And because he's also got the shoulder length
long hair
and blah blah blah. And wow, he shat on that idea real fast. He was just he basically didn't deign to even acknowledge I had said it. And then by the time we were done with the whole exercise, we had dressed him up as Lenny Kravitz going to a bodega.
That is so hyper specific.
There was a big scarf involved. There were some sunglasses. Like, it was a whole thing.
That's adorable.
Yeah. Okay, anyway. So, yeah, they haven't made the drop yet, and their plan is not to do so until 4 years from now, which, P.S., is bananas to me.
Oh, my God.
Considering her job.
Well, also, like, on top of that, like, the minute my brain is done forming.
That's
cooking.
25, when your frontal lobe fully forms.
Fucking snap that bitch. Because, like, let me tell you, I could not be 23 for essentially 40 years. I can't do it. I couldn't be 24 for 40 years either. Like, no.
So, okay. So, I'm sorry. We're at dinner. I took us on a tangent in order to get some info into your noggins. So, Reed shows up and he's fucking 45 minutes late and he's on his phone.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like she's trying to talk to him and he keeps on holding up his finger to be like,
oh
just
my
a
God,
moment.
I would fucking break that finger off.
Oh, shit. That phone might end up in a fountain, you know? Just right in the drink.
Yeah, especially because, like, I'm one of those people where, like, if I'm hanging out with someone or not even one-on-one, if I'm hanging out with people, if the thing that we're doing is hanging out on our technology together, which is a perfectly valid way to spend time, that's cool. I forget my phone fucking exists.
Same.
So, like, I'm like, am I not fucking interesting enough to keep your attention or something? Like, why the fuck aren't you interested in talking to me? Like, and maybe that's a me thing, but like, don't fucking play on your phone. And like, or I will pull out my phone if I'm feeling like overstimulated, but like, if I'm fucking interacting with you, put the fucking phone down.
No, absolutely.
Bucko.
Yeah.
So she does the fucking most badass shit. She's noticed this Fae lady like staring at her from across the way. And so she's like, you know what? I'm going. And Reed's like, oh, okay. And she's like, no, you don't understand. I'm not, I'm leaving you. I'm done. We're broken up. Then she grabs the second bottle of wine because she's already gone through one. Walks over to that Fae lady, tells her she's an asshole and gives her a bunch of shit and stuff like that, and then walks out of the restaurant with the bottle of wine, stealing a bunch of matchbooks, and then just walks her way on down to the White Raven, which is this badass club.
She just struts on down to her club.
In a temple. What a cool fucking club.
In an abandoned temple, in an old ass, like decrepit temple that then they revamped into an uns club. And it's one of their favorite places to like spend a night.
It should be one of my favorite places too.
Yeah,
I'm not even necessarily a club person, but this sounded fucking awesome.
I know, right? It really sounded good. So she goes there and she ends up meeting up with her friend Fury, who is very likely an assassin.
There's no very likely about it. There's no way.
She's a mercenary.
There's no way that she's not a merc.
Yeah. And she is texting Danica.
And Juniper.
Is Juniper there?
Yep. Oh. So Juniper also comes. Juniper is adorable. She's a fawn, and she's the very first fawn in the city's ballet.
Yeah, which is all Fae.
Oh, and
she
another
doesn't
note.
have any drugs because she has ballet in the morning.
That's another note, though. Bryce loves to dance, and if she could have, as a half human, she would have gone into dance. But like, that's just not going to work because she's not full Fae. She doesn't have the body type because nymphs and sylphs and elves go into the ballet. But so they come over, and she's like, Danica's giving her shit about like, don't you dare have fun without me. I can't believe you're going to the White Raven. And then she and Connor start texting, and she's basically they set up a date.
Because Danica says, P.S. I think it wouldn't be a terrible idea if you wanted to go out with Connor. Like, he has, whatever. And so she's like, okay, you can take me out for pizza like on Saturday, 2 days from now.
Don't be later. 6. It's over. And you know what he says?
Yeah, please tell us.
I'll never keep you waiting.
Why? And then they go back and forth. And what's the last thing that he texts? Sabrina, tell them.
I don't have that highlighted.
He says, I'm going to spoil you.
Yes. Wait, no, actually, you know what? We need to actually read that text conversation out loud because everything about it is perfection.
Okay, I'm going to find it. All right, so Bryce was about to put her phone away when the screen flashed again. Connor had added, you won't regret this. I've had a long while to figure out all the ways I'm going to spoil you, all the fun we're going to have. And then she says, stalker. And he says, go enjoy yourself. I'll see you in a few days. Message me when you're home safe. And it's just like the sweetest thing in the whole wide world. But then she takes about 8 drugs.
Oh my God, they get so fucking high. They're so high. They are so drunk.
She's just snorting shit left and right, okay?
They're partying their fucking asses off. They're fucking going to town. Like, we don't see this, like, some of this on page, but, like, later in Sad Times, we do hear about how she sent Danica a video of her scooping some shit up with her nail, snorting it, and then turning around so you can see the club in the background, and she's like, fuck you, or light it up, bitch, because that's like what they say to each other.
Yeah.
And like Danica's like, don't you have fun with Matt? I can't believe you. Fuck you. I can't, like, how dare you be having fun without me?
Them.
Which, like, that's a mood. That's a mood.
And we find out way later on that one of her texts to Danica was, I just hooked up with a guy in the bathroom. Don't tell Connor.
Oh my God. Okay, so Bryce's favorite place to fuck, though, is the White Raven bathroom. Like, she has sex in that bathroom no less than 4 times in the first 360. Hey,
as a gal who did not like commitment or any strings whatsoever,
I have had a lot of encounters and a lot of miscellaneous questionable bathrums, okay? Questionable experiences, in fact, in questionable bathrooms. So, like, I'm not hating on her. I'm just laughing that this is her favorite place to
It truly
fuck.
is. Yeah,
I'm waiting. I'm just waiting for her and Hunt one day. She's like, oh, like he's like, why aren't you into this? And she's just like, we just need to.
You have to take
come
me
with
to the
me.
White Raven
You have to take me to the White Raven's bathroom. Wait, but they're under construction. I guess we're just celibate for the next 6 months until it's done being fixed.
Yeah, I have a Pavlov's dog situation where, like, I just need that bathroom and then I get wet and then we're good to go.
So yeah, we weren't kidding though when we say that this girl's fucked up. So she gets home, right? So she goes,
and like this is written so viscerally.
It's so accurate too. Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to say that I've been there, but I'm definitely not going to say I haven't been there.
No, I'm going to say it right now. This reminded me of one of the nights when I was a counselor at speech camp. Don't tell Michael, he was my boss. And I went out with one of my old speech coaches and like a couple of other people. I got the drunkest maybe I've ever been in my life other than 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, that was maybe
Can't wait to watch that with you.
God, I know, same.
Mostly sober.
I remember like sort of staggering and like getting into my dorm room somehow, but I wasn't actually sleeping there. And so I curled up on the floor, on the tile floor.
I remember one time after Mardi Gras, I was walking home from my friends. And when I woke up the next morning, I had taken blankets and a pillow into the bathtub. Probably because I was like, well, if I puke, it'll be easier to clean up in the bathtub. Which, like, as if I didn't have my fucking pillow and blanket with me. Like,
yeah, right? You're drunk logic. It's fine. Yeah. My favorite thing about that night at speech camp was that apparently one of the bartenders that we were at, like at the last bar, was like this really like tough lady. She was like 6 feet tall and she had like a butch haircut, and she was, you know, like everybody knew her as like, you don't fuck with that bartender. And so I proceed to get more hammered, and apparently I puked there. And my old speech coach was like, I've never seen her like that before. Like, she took you to the bathroom and she held your hair. Like, I don't know what you did to this lady, but like, she cared about you, and it's unheard of. And I was like, oh, heart eyes. Thank you.
That's very cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this girl's messed up. She can't fucking read her phone. She can't read her messages. God. She can't remember the code to get into her own house, and she knows Danica's going to be pissed if she calls her. Like,
she, in the lobby of her building, she takes off her shoes and doesn't realize that there's broken glass all over the place. She's like, oh, it's really hard to walk on broken glass. Yeah, because the demon went in there.
No, that's not what she said. She said that
What did she
going up the stairs like this is going to be like walking on broken glass terrible or something like that.
All right, we're going to Google it in the Kindle right now because I swore.
I did too. I reread that like 4 times because I could have sworn. She let her heels clunk to the tile floor, whispering a fervent blah, 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 blah. Bryce said a barefoot on the stairs and winced. This was going to hurt. Walking on glass hurt. She let her heels clunk to the tile floor. So really it could go either way, frankly. So like you can read it that first time without knowing what's coming. And it's just her saying that this is going to really suck. But like, I don't know. It could also be that she's literally walking on broken glass.
Because there are 2 other times, and like one of them, she talks about the broken glass sparkling in the first light. You know, so like there are other times when broken glass is actually there. I guess that was just a metaphor that I didn't realize.
Well, because I read it like 6 times, and I was like, "Is this it? Is this the moment?"
Yeah.
And then I was like, I read that and I was like, well, maybe not. Well, guess what, listener? It was the fucking moment. She gets upstairs and this bitch is so fucking drunk. Like she almost just falls asleep on the second landing. And then she's like, no, let me just keep going. I'm so grateful that I've never lived someplace with stairs.
God.
Like, oh,
for
God.
Sure. So she gets up to her door and it's like an enchanted door. It's also iron. And she realizes that it's like crumpled.
Well, she's trying to like do her key.
And then she like drops her keys and she gets liquid on her hand.
And like she doesn't even notice it, but the door is just fucked. It's open. This was such a visceral scene.
Oh my God. Well, because she thinks she's hallucinating. She's like, I'm so
but just the way it was described, like I was there in this moment when she walked in and she's like, it's too quiet.
It's oh my God, it's
dark. There's tables everywhere. She realizes that there's blood everywhere as if there's been an argument.
She says the wolves fought.
And then she's looking around and she's like, well, I don't see Danica. I don't see Connor. And then she goes to her bedroom.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into detail because it's bad. But like, long story short, Danica. Oh, everywhere. Stop, Melanie. I've already read it once. Long story short, Danica.
She talks about like human pulp, right? Is it pulp?
Oh, God. It was bad enough the first time around on page, Melody. It's chunks. It's described as chunks of Danica. All over her bed, and then chunks of Connor at the foot of, like on the floor at the foot of her bed. And then she realizes that there's also chunks of Thorn, who we forgot to describe earlier, but is this adorable little Omega Wolfie who's in love with Danica, and their love was fated in the stars, but now everybody's fucking dead, and they're just chunks all over fucking Bryce's room. It's fucking horrible. And then she hears a noise in the hallway.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So this was nuts to me because in like the first 5 chapters, Sarah J. fucking Maas has me in love with these best friends, like utterly in love with them, want to hang out with them all the time. She has me shipping Connor and she so hard because like it's finally gonna happen. Yeah. And then she's got me so obsessed with the idea of this alpha like looking to her side and being like, Thorn, you were there the whole time. And then them being together forever, Alpha and Omega, because every time, like she describes different times in the book when like Danica's been in trouble or whatever, like they got into some sort of accident. Sabrina and I still don't know the details of.
We know a little bit. There's a gun involved. Like it's some fucked up motorcycle, but like.
Yeah. But Thorn like carries her up the stairs, even though like she is this badass wolf. He wants to care for her. And when she walks into her room and she says, I can tell that is Danica on the bed. And like right in front of her, defending her is Connor.
Her second Connor.
And yeah. And then right on the side of the bed, also fighting to the death, is Thorn, the wolf who's been in love with her for forever. And I was just like, there was a wolf who only drank mead.
Branson, he only drank mead, and he had a like a really pretentious pizza that had like cured meats on it.
Yeah, And he only watched documentaries and foreign films.
Yeah.
And there were these brother and sister Snow White ghost wolves.
The white ghosts or something like that.
And they also got fucking obliterated.
All of them did on Packmate when they were having their little wolf pack party.
Yes.
My eyes are burning.
And so I couldn't believe that this happened. Like, I couldn't believe that I was having such an emotional reaction to it. Because
after 5 chapters? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, also, like, on top of that, like, I honestly don't know if it was worse for you not knowing it was coming, or if it was worse for me going, don't get attached to these people, and then proceeding to get deeply attached to all of them. And then this happening. Because, like, I was like, oh my God, they're all gonna fucking die.
Let's be totally clear, listener. This happens before page 66 of 803.
Yeah.
And I am beside myself over these characters being myrtleated. So yes, she hears that sound happen in the hallway. And this half-human with, like, she has not done the drop. She doesn't have a weapon. She just picks up a broken table leg.
To be clear, she has a habit of not giving a shit that she hasn't done the drop.
No, totally. So she goes and she races. She's barefoot. By the way, she's in a party dress.
Still drunk and high as a
she's so fucking
motherfucking hot air balloon.
No, absolutely. Like halfway through finding that crime scene, she was still wondering if she was hallucinating because she's so fucking high. So she goes racing down those stairs, and then she goes outside and she runs after whatever did this to her friends. She's just following like the sound of screams and like where people are looking toward. And she's going to go find this, whatever it is.
And she did grab, the only weapon she has on her is a broken off table leg.
Yep. So she's like jumping on cars. She says her dance background like really helped in this point because she, you know, leapt and twirled and blah, blah, blah. And like her moves didn't fail her once.
And then she finally catches up to this thing in an alley, and it is...
Well, because it stopped for a snack.
Yeah, it stopped because it's now obliterating an angel.
Yeah, she wouldn't have caught it, except it was like, nom. Yeah, ooh, angel hearts. Gotta eat them, snack.
Yeah, and this, like, it's described as literally, like, eating through this dude's chest to get at his heart. To get
into his heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she just comes up and thwacks it.
And then guess what this motherfucker thing does? It leans back and is like, and then it goes right back for the chest. It doesn't give a shit about this tiny thing that just hit it in the face.
No.
And then so she keeps wailing on it, and then it breaks its glass-looking teeth.
Yes, because it's got clear blood and clear teeth.
Oh, I did not like that at all.
I hate all of it, frankly.
Yeah. It makes me think of mirrors. Don't like it.
Yeah, she wails on this thing, and then instead of just, you know, it gashes her, it swipes at her, and it gashes the top of her thigh, like almost off, and then it scampers up a building and runs away.
And so
Which made no sense to me, but like we'll fine.
I'm sure we'll find out.
We're fine. Yeah, I think there's something in her, you know. There's something inside her.
Are we going to start talking about our theories about Bryce?
She's got those fire in her eyes sometimes.
Are we talking Bryce theories right now? Because don't get me started.
I don't think we can yet. Oh no.
So she and this was super cute though. So the angel, she like gets the phone out of its pocket and then calls for help.
She's holding his chest in, right? She's holding his heart in. And she's like, phone, do you have a phone? And he like looks at his pocket.
I wonder if she is better at holding in chest wounds than the historical lady from England times.
For sure. No, for sure. Because her face strength took over, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so she grabs this angel's phone and she dials the number.
The thing that I made a note of that killed me was the angel was trying to reassure her.
Well, because
she was like crying and like freaking out and in shock.
Can I tell them why specifically she was crying?
Yeah.
Because as she's on the phone with this emergency worker, the guy says, ma'am, just tell me where you are. We can have wolves to you within a minute.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
He's talking about the pack of devils. And so she hiccup sobs. And then the angel puts his hand on her thigh
Even
to be
though
like,
he's
it's okay,
bleeding
focus. He's like, please focus on the matter at hand. And so finally she's like, you're not listening to me. I need you to track his phone. And then she gives him the number. She just keeps screaming the number of his phone out loud because she finds it on a screen somewhere. And then the guy's like, miss, I really need you to calm down. And then she goes, miss, holy gods. The line crackled. They're coming. The responder breathed. And
which, can I just make a quick note that's a little heartless? She just went real fast from not being able to read her phone, not being able to type a number into her.
It's adrenaline.
Her stuff. Oh, absolutely. To now being able to get to the about phone number section. Yeah.
I don't know how to do that in my phone today, fully sober. I have no idea how to do that right now. I couldn't do that.
If you ever need to know, I can show you.
Okay, great. So anyway,
if you ever run across a stranger, you better hope
to hold his heart in.
You better hope that their face or their thumbprint is okay, though, because otherwise you're not getting into that phone.
Oh man, Apple is really persnickety about that.
That's a great question, also, though. Is his phone just? Because we find out who this angel is later in this book.
Later,
is his phone just unlocked? That seems like a huge security risk.
Yeah, it really does. He's got some sensitive info on that phone.
There's no way he doesn't.
Shit.
And it's not nudes.
No, it's not nudes. Although there are also nudes on there.
Probably. This man is very sure of himself.
They're just not classified.
Yeah.
So anyway, the next scene, we go immediately from the scene of the situation to hours later, she's sitting in a holding interview room.
Yeah.
And
she's in shock hard.
Oh, yeah. But this is where we meet Isaiah Tiberian and Hunter
Athalar.
Athalar.
Actually, I'm sorry. It's actually Orion Hunt Athalar.
Yes. Yeah.
Orion Hunter Hunt Athalar.
Yeah, because his mom nicknamed him Hunt because Orion was the hunter.
I love the name Orion.
It's a really good one.
Literally the minute he showed up on page, I was like, this is the assassin. And then 2 sentences later, it was like, yeah, this is the assassin. Yeah, I'm allowed to have horny feelings about this one.
Also, can I just say that this made me a little bit sad? Looking back. Yeah, no, I hear that. No, because Isaiah is there and he's the commander of the entire 33rd, which is the Angel Boys.
Specifically fallen Angel Boys from the rebellion that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, but they're basically the auxiliary of the Angels. They do the patrolling and all the other stuff. So he's standing there looking through the glass at a very catatonic Bryce Quinlan. She hasn't said a word since the incident. And then it says a rough male voice spoke from the door behind him. She's still not talking. It took all 2 centuries of Isaiah's training on and off the battlefield to avoid flinching at that voice, to turn slowly toward the angel he knew would be leaning against the doorway, wearing his usual black battle suit, an angel who reason and history reminded him was an ally, though every instinct roared the opposite. Predator, killer, monster. And then it says, Hunt Athalar's angular dark eyes fixed on him. And but this made me sad because later on, it's pretty clear that Isaiah's kind of the closest thing he has to a friend.
Yeah.
And the fact that Isaiah, they've spent hundreds of years together and he flinches every time Hunt talks.
But of important sexy note, yes, that is very sad melody. Hunt seemed to exist within a permanent ripple of stillness.
Yeah.
It was the bated silence before a thunderclap. Like the entire land held its breath when he was near.
Oh, yowza. Sploosh.
Okay. Yeah.
You know?
I just love a broody broken boy.
He's so broken and he's so sad.
Broken and sad.
He is pining for the love who gave up everything for him and the cause. Fuck, dude. When we get to that point, fuck. So basically they're like, she's not talking.
Just one more thing. He's known
please.
as the Umbra Mortis. Yes. The shadow of death.
Ooh. And he has like a bone mask. He has like a skull mask.
A skull-faced helmet.
Ooh.
This is also when we find out he has the power of lightning, which I'm down for that. All I could think though was, do we get lightning orgasms like we get in Fourth Wing?
I don't know. Let's find out,
Well, we have to get through this episode first.
That's true. God damn it. No, that's true. This reminded me of Katie's upcoming book for the Bunkers Auction series, because her dude wears a skull mask most of the time. Her stalker wears a skull mask most of the time. And I can't even begin to talk about it.
I like a mask. I don't know. I can't help it.
Skull mask, man. Umbra Mortis.
There was a TikTok going around for a while where shirtless sexy band was wearing a Scream mask a couple of years ago, and I was and that's when I looked up horror romance, and I did go down a rabbit hole.
Nice. Ooh, that's the exact way to do that. So basically there's a lady who goes in, a wraith who goes in and tries to interrogate her or mildly question her, but she's catatonic.
Her name's Victoria. Of note, this is also when we learn about the angels and the shit that has happened to them with the rebellion. So Isaiah and Hunt were both part of the rebellion, and Hunt was actually the head general.
He was the big guy.
Basically the second in command. And after the rebellion, they essentially got forced into slavery, right?
Yeah.
And so they have these
slavery.
These halo tattoos across their forehead, which do you know how hard it's been not to look up fucking fan art? Because I know that there's going to be spoilers. I know. Son of a god. I'm one of the reasons I fucking love all of these kinds of series is there's so much fan art. I love fan art. Just to be clear, listener, if you have read this book and you have fan art that you really love from this book, give us a hot second. We will be finished reading the book probably before this episode even comes out. But please, for the love of God, tag us in it on Instagram. I want to see it. Lucky_reader without an E. Heaving bosoms. I don't remember your Instagram off the top of your head, but regardless, fucking send it to us on heavingbosoms podcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Your host, Sabrina, is a slut for fan art, okay?
Yes.
Please.
Same here. Okay, am I wrong that it's a
one
crown
more
of
thing.
Thorns?
It might be. I don't remember exactly, but it's a tattoo. And so
it's a magic tattoo.
So not only do they have this magic tattoo lets them only have access to a 10% of their actual power. They also have
bananas.
Which also they have a tattoo of essentially their owners, which is real fucked up.
Yeah, they have a tattoo that basically says that they're the property of the Asteri and the Republic, like the Senate. And every being that is enslaved has that tattoo somewhere on their body because it's magic, and that's what makes them have to
obey
the bad ones. Yeah. So he is currently in a bargain with Micah, the governor of this place, and his technical, I guess, should we call him his handler? I don't know, his owner. It sucks.
Yeah.
He has a bargain that says that he can be free when he makes up for the 2,000 plus
2,217 deaths that he caused on the battlefield. Because it's not just the murders the deaths that he caused, it's any of them. Because since he's the general, Micah is saying this is all your fault. And so every person that he assassinates for the governor ticks one more off. And lucky for him, he just hit number 82. So he'll be done in 9 centuries.
Yeah, despite the entwined thorns tattooed across both their brows. Yeah. It's blech.
Then Victoria is the worst fucking person to be in there asking Bryce about shit.
Why?
Because Victoria rolls in and she's like, so basically is like, here, listen to the audio of your friend being brutally murdered, asking her like blatant question, like horrible questions, walking through every text message that had gone back and forth between them that night. And like, just like, and Bryce is just like not
Catatonic.
responding. Yeah, she's just.
No, it's awful. We're in Hunt's head, and he says that when the tape plays, they just hear Danica begging for her life. And he is marveling and like wondering at what could possibly make such a powerful wolf shifter behave that way. Like,
well, and of note, there's no video
at first.
There's no video recording, by the way, of this, because even though every building is supposed to be recorded, to be clear, this is a state of surveillance, this city. Like, you cannot go anywhere without being surveyed. Surveilled?
Surveilled.
Watched?
Surveilled.
Just, cool. Surveyed like they're a fucking parcel of land. But anyway, and this building owner that they rent from is just, he isn't keeping up with it. And so there's no video footage of anything that has happened. Well,
and the other reason there's no video footage is because they're living in the janky-ass building that Bryce can afford.
That's what yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because Bryce feels guilty as fuck.
Yes. Yeah, because if they were living in the swanky building that Danica wanted to, there would be footage everywhere.
So, unsurprisingly, though, after hearing this terrible footage, which is dead silent except for the sounds of the people dying, she loses her shit and her face strength says fuck that. She like table flips, throws a chair, and then she just starts vomiting everywhere and ends up like crouched down on her knees and is like leaning over into it. And
Hunt crouches down in front of her and he says, "Hey," and it like grounds her a little bit.
He reached for her shoulder but lowered his hand. How many people ever saw the hands of the Umbra Mortis reach for them with no hint of violence? It's so sweet. By the way, we forgot to mention this earlier, but earlier we also learn about Bryce's full fae half-brother, Rune Dannon, who is the crown prince of the Valbaran Fae. Valbaria. That's the name. That's the name of the country, I think. He is also the current possessor of the Star Sword, fabled dark blade of the ancient starborn Fae. Proof of the prince's chosen one status among the Fae.
Chosen one.
And so he does roll up into this. Like, so Bryce has already been let go.
No. We have to talk. No. Absolutely not.
Okay.
We cannot go there yet. Because I don't remember. I'm pretty sure she's still in there. Sabine comes in.
Oh, yeah.
And she says, "Let me in there." Sabine is Danica's mom. And she's like, "Let me in there. I will find out whatever you need to know." And they're like, "Back the fuck off. You just lost your daughter. You're not allowed to be around here." And she's like, "You get that little slut out here and you make her tell me, where is my sword? It wasn't in the apartment." So she actually doesn't give a shit about what happened to Danica or who did it or whatever. She's just really, really pissed because the sword is not at Danica's apartment. She doesn't know where it is. She doesn't have access to it. And then she like marks the door as in like, "I'm going to get you at some point." Like she put a target on Bryce. Like I'll kill you someday. And like fucked off. But yeah, Sabine is the worst. And then they let her go because somebody calls in to be like,
the Autumn King is like, let her the fuck go because I don't need this shit causing a stink while the summit is happening, which the summit is like some big fancy schmancy.
And it's like a month away. Or like 5 weeks away or something.
The Asteri and some archangel. I don't, to be frank, I don't really understand what the summit is yet.
It's a big meeting of big bads.
Big boys.
Is my understanding of it. Yep.
That canon.
So then Rune comes and he's like, "Let her go. She comes with me, blah, blah, blah." And they're like, "Oh, no, we did let her go. She's gone." And Rune freaks out and he and Hunt have gone to fisticuffs like at some point
they
earlier.
get tough punching on each other and they just
can't stop punching. Yeah. Yeah, at like a spring festival or something.
Yeah,
they just
like
wailed on each other.
Oh God, and it was so embarrassing for all Rune, really, because fucking Hunt lays waste to that pretty Faye face.
He does. He breaks his nose all apart, and there's blood everywhere. And Micah gave him a bonus and a vacation.
Yeah. Oh my God, Micah. Yeah.
Micah has to be like, this is a suspension because bad, except totally go on vacay and like, here's a boatload of money. Thanks so much.
No, it wasn't money. He took 3 kills off of his.
Both.
Oh yeah, that's one
both.
thing. Oh, I didn't realize that the money was involved. But like, it's terrible how Micah's just like, yeah, we'll just take off a couple kills. Like, it's Monopoly money for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck you, Micah.
It's a power play. And it's a power play he doesn't even have to do. Like, he could just tell Hunt to kill anybody he wants anytime, period, the end. He doesn't have to promise him his freedom someday. Yeah. But he's doing it for some reason. So, okay. Anyway.
What do you mean for some reason? It's so that he does it, like, without falling apart. It's very clear that Hunt is not made to murder.
Sure. Oh, you think he's doing it to protect Hunt's psyche?
No, I think he's doing it to protect his investment. He spent like 300 million gold coins to get Hunt.
So you think that Micah...
I think that he is essentially manipulating. If he's got a goal, then he will do it to the best of his ability.
Oh. Interesting.
It's fucked up.
I don't hate that theory.
So then it's chapter 7, and this is when this is the end of part 1, and we find out that all of the wolves have forsaken her. She's lost all of her friends. They've said, don't come to the sailing.
Okay, I have a question for you about this. What the fuck is up with Ethan? Ethan is Connor's younger brother. What is up with him saying you're not welcome there at their funeral?
I think because all of them are blaming her for Danica's death.
Just because she wasn't there? She couldn't have saved them?
I don't know, but I think that that's what's happened. Like, somehow something has gotten out there. Like, fuck, she can't even go into the wolf area of the city anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they fucking hate her because Danica was essentially like their salvation. She was going to save them from the terrible rule of Sabine.
Yeah.
And Bryce wasn't there. I'm sure that Danica somehow made it seem like it's Bryce's fault, or maybe they're talking about how Bryce stole
not Danica.
Like, yeah, Sabine did, and like maybe Sabine poisons them into thinking that Bryce stole the sword. Bryce has been taking advantage of Danica all this time. Bryce wasn't there because she was out partying. She wasn't a good friend. She wasn't taking care. Like, she was
right.
There's a billion different things that could be the reason for this.
Well, between Ethan and then Fury, because one of her merc friends, Fury.
Okay, hang on.
What the fuck is that about?
I think this is how Fury's grieving. She is throwing herself into what she does, and she's just cut off all contact with everybody except for that one time she calls Juniper.
But yeah, she's talking to Juniper. She'll talk to Juniper.
I think that Fury knows a lot.
Oh, you do?
I think Fury knows stuff. And she's not allowed to share it with Bryce. I think she knows things, and I think that she will tell Bryce things that she's not allowed to say to try and make Bryce feel better. I think Fury knows shit. And she's yeah.
Because Fury has fucked off to the continent of war, and she's been just, murking since. Because after Bryce... Yeah.
No, we're going back because I have a question for you.
Please.
Quote, she was not welcome at the sailing, so she had come here to say goodbye, to give Danica one last thing. The creature that dwelt in the mist emerged, and even the river at her back trembled. Bryce opened her eyes and slowly lifted her gaze. What the fuck did Bryce just do? What is the creature in the mist?
I don't know. My first thought was
do you think she gave it the sword? To send the sword with Danica into the afterlife?
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
I just thought of that.
That's one of the things I'm wondering. I don't know, though.
But like,
because it was her tribute to Danica. It was her goodbye to Danica.
yeah, because she's hanging out at the river. Because literally, when people die in this world, they send them across this literal river into the realm of death, essentially.
Yeah.
And you only make it if you're worthy. And if you're not worthy, then your boat tips over and then you're in hell.
Yeah, I think she might have given it the sword. I don't know what else she would be doing. I don't know.
What is the creature?
A reaper? That was my first thought, but I don't know. It's definitely something of the House of Shadow.
They talk about the Reapers as if they're like humanoid, or like they treat them in the book as like a species, though. Yeah. I don't know that they would have said the creature that dwelt in the mist. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
I had forgotten about that actually until going through my notes just now. But I was like, what the fuck is happening? By the way, Bryce opened her eyes and slowly lifted her gaze. End of part 1.
End of part 1.
What
the fuck? And then, okay, so then we open up part 2 and it's 22 months later.
2 months. It's been 2 fucking years.
Well, okay, also, did you notice how each part is named? It's named after a different level of hell. The hollow, the trench, the something, the something, the something, and then the bottom one is the pit.
How do we know those are levels of hell?
So it says, hell's 7 territories, each one darker than the last. The hollow, the trench, the canyon, the ravine, the chasm, the abyss, and the worst of them all, the pit. And the first 2 parts of this are the hollow and the trench. Part 3 is the canyon.
That makes me want to open the second book right now so bad to see what those fucking parts are called.
To see what those parts are called.
I'm not going to, but like...
I know.
It's taken a hell of a lot of willpower. No, I did not notice that.
Yeah. So, yeah, part 3 is the canyon and part 4 is the ravine. So then part 2 starts off. It's 2 years later and she is doing a deal because she's like grown a bit in the antiquities market and she's doing deals now. So she's meeting up with a vampire, like a rich, fancy vampire named Maximus Tertian. And he wants to buy a 5,000-year-old bust and he wants to feel real slick about it and like real clandestine-like. Okay.
Oh my God. This little wannabe fucking mafioso. Like,
I know. So he makes her meet him at the White Raven and she's drinking seltzer water the whole time.
Yeah, because she quit drinking
at conferences. My trick at conferences later on would be I would order like a gin and tonic for the first one. And then the next, all of them were just seltzer with lime. And then everybody thought I was really fun and I drank a lot. I did not. I was just very hydrated. Anyway, so they do this deal and he is the worst.
Yeah, he's terrible. So they do the deal and then he's like, well, don't I get some extra perks? And she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you know, you're kind of a hottie.
That body yaddy yaddy on ya. And she's like, that's verbatim. The Sarah J. Maas wrote that.
Yep.
There were a lot of hyphens involved.
Big confirm. Yep.
So
canon.
Yeah.
So he's getting handsy and he won't let her go. And then like Rune walks into the club.
Yeah.
With them apple bottom jeans.
Yeah. He looks over her shoulder and she says that she can tell that another bigger predator has walked into the room. And then he
to be
pulls
clear,
her.
Listener, if Rune was not a brother, she must have done this on purpose. Made Rune a brother. Because like Rune is a fucking hottie yaddy with a body. Like
no, absolutely.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
and he's all alternative and like shaved.
Oh
on
yeah,
one side
he's
of
got
his head
lip piercings and like his elf ears are pierced. Oh my God, son of a bitch.
Yeah, and so Maximus Tertian pulls her to him and he says, "You're mine," and then she says, "That's my cousin," because that's their cover. They can claim a relation, but they're not brother and sister.
Yes, so because she isn't treated quite as terribly as other half humans because she's actually a full citizen, and the agreement was that if she does not ever acknowledge or share the truth of who her father is with the general public, then she gets full citizenship. And so she does.
He also offered her a boatload of money, but she was like, go fuck yourself. And I was like, live on your principles, Bryce. Great job.
Frankly, I would have taken the money.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
guess
you're
what?
already doing what he wants.
If I'd had the money, we probably would have had a working video camera
for fucking
in the building where my friend got brutally murdered.
To be fair, I think I like this turn of events later on. I don't think it would have mattered.
I don't either.
Because of the inside scoopness of it all.
The inside
and knowing all those camera angles. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Rune got called to the club actually because the owner of the club, Rizzo, who's
a butterfly shifter, which I love.
Yeah, super cute. There's a lot of uncommon shifters in this series, or book so far. It's a delightful. I want to be a butterfly shifter. But anyway, so he called Rune because
he was like, this looks
somebody
weird.
was getting handsy with Bryce. And then they have a real tense conversation after, because essentially Bryce is like, get fucked. I'm getting out of here. And Rune's like, hey, you need to fucking chill out because the summit meeting is coming up. And my father...
Actually, yeah, he says, the Autumn King wanted me to tell you that you need to lay low until the summit.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I just shouldn't do anything embarrassing. And he's like, kinda. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah. Which we've also started getting hints that we've gotten hints that they used to be close and they are no longer close.
Yeah, they don't speak anymore.
Yeah, and so he essentially forces her to let him walk her home. And by that, I mean, she walks home and he creeps behind her 50 feet. And God. So Bryce no longer lives in that apartment. Thank God. But apparently Bryce bought an apartment in a really good part of town.
No, Bryce did not. Danica
Not Bryce.
did.
Danica brought... Dude, these fantasy books.
I know. I'm sorry.
Are going to fucking kill. Yeah. You know what? Listener, get used to it. I'm not fucking sorry. I'm not sorry. That's going to be happening the whole fucking time. You better get used to it.
So Danica apparently
bought a house or bought an apartment and left it in a will to Bryce.
Yeah, because Bryce was her sole beneficiary, basically. And when she bought the apartment, it was an investment property. She put it in both their names from the beginning without really even telling Bryce. And it's got all of the enchantments you could ever possibly want on it for safetyness. It's all paid off fully.
Well, yeah, because when Bryce first got the apartment and she was like, I was going to sell it because I didn't want anything. I didn't want this.
I didn't want to capitalize on her death. I didn't want to benefit from her death.
Well, yeah, but then she was like, fuck, but the wards and the enchantments,
safe.
It's so safe here.
It's so safe. Yeah.
And to be fair, I would have nightmares until the day I died after what happened in that apartment. So that's a mood.
Well, no, and this is exactly what Danica wanted. Oh my God, early on, it talks about how Danica says that if she ever leaves the art gallery, that she needs to take that necklace with her, find a way to take it with her. And she's like, that's Danica. She's such a protective alpha. And she's my person. And this is exactly what Danica wanted. If anything happened to her, she wanted to make sure Bryce was set. And she did. Oh! So anyway, we're done with that. She goes home. And then we have to watch poor Hunt do some murders. He has to do a big assassinate on a bunch of baddies. And we see how
much he hates it.
Shell-shocked he is afterwards. Yeah. How not okay he is after. And he finds out that he has to go do detective work the next day with Isaiah.
This is so cool. I nerded out so hard about this. So Hunt, apparently with his lightning powers, by the way, he's the only creature in existence with lightning powers.
Nobody else can recreate it.
And apparently with his lightning powers, he can detect energy fields, so he can know where cameras are and microphones
he does a bzz
and technology
on things.
It's the coolest fucking thing if I've ever heard in my life, but I'm almost 100% certain that every time he did that, it would cause me some pretty serious tinnitus. So I'd be like, buddy, keep that on the DL. I did think it was cool as fuck. But anyway, so they're at her place of work, at Bryce's place of work.
They go to her art gallery.
Because, Melody.
Yeah.
Did you, before that we found out who it was, did you guess that it was Maximilian? Nope, Maximus. I couldn't remember his name to save my life.
Maximus
my nose
Tertian?
flip-flop. Yeah, my nose flip-flop back and forth between flip-flop back and forth between like 8 different Max names. Like there's a Maxwell in here, Maximilian, Maximus. So anyway, but guess who died late last night?
Yeah, right after she met with him, Maximus Tertian was murdered in a very similar way. There was Maximus Tertian pulp all over an alley because he got chunked up by a thing that was very similar to what happened.
Not holding back.
But it's my favorite because Bryce runs them in circles all morning. So they're like, knock, knock, knock. I need to talk to you. And she's like, why don't we make an appointment for 3 weeks from now? I'll see you then. Bye. And they're like, no, I have to talk. Like, we have to talk to you. And she's like, I've got clients. I'm so sorry. Jessica doesn't like anybody in here. Bye. And they're like, no. And so,
because they can't get in because of the enchantments on the door. So they can't just like mosey their angelic asses in there.
And so when some clients leave, they go to like cross the street, and she's like, she gives them like a sunny smile and a wave, and then slams the door right when they get there. And it's so funny. It's all from Hunt's perspective. And so he's like, God, she's got balls. I'll give her that.
He's so mad. He's like, this hot little shithead. Fuck this.
He's like,
cutie
this party
patootie
girl doesn't have respect for anybody. If I had that, bleh. So he's like, I bet she's so hot she gets away with whatever she wants with all the people.
Oh my God. He's so angry throughout this entire part 2 about how cute and attractive not attractive, but not cute. Hot. She's a stone cold hottie. Okay.
She is. She's a Jessica Rabbit is what she is. Yeah. Yeah. Put that in your noggin.
She's a Jessica Rabbit.
She's a Jessica Rabbit. Yeah. Except like snarky and a little bit stone-faced. Yeah, hot. So as he gets to the door, he knocks again and he's like, we really have to talk to you. It's about a murder. And then it's like shunk, click, all the locks come off. And she finally lets them in. And then they're like, what were you doing after, how did your meeting with Maximus go? She's like, well, we did a thing. He got handsy. I told him to fuck off. And then I left. And they're like, yeah, that's what the video footage showed. And they're asking her all these questions. And then finally, she's like, how did he die? And they're like, it was exactly like Danica and the Pack of Devils. And so he thinks that like a preternatural calm comes over her, not realizing that it is a PTSD like shock response. She just sort of like, she doesn't go catatonic, but she's just like, whoosh. Like she can't handle her life. And so they're like, we need you to get on the phone with your boss.
Jasiba.
Yeah. Because the governor is on his way here and we're going to have a little meeting. And she's like,
a little meet and greet.
What?
Well, like, how long do I have? And they're like, 8 minutes. So she calls Jasiba immediately and is like, hey, the governor's on his way here. So he wants to talk to you. And Jasiba's like, okay, let me make some calls. I'll be there.
Yeah.
On video.
So Micah, the governor, knocks at the art gallery door. What?
I would like one quote note real quick.
Please.
So the quote is, for someone who clearly took pains to dress nicely, he had little doubt she'd gotten the scar removed immediately. Party girls didn't like scars messing with how they looked in a swimsuit. So of context, this is a scar that was from the alley. And he is actually the one who put it back together. He stapled it shut in the alley.
Up. Like they were on a battlefield.
And so he's like, yeah, they're gonna like she's just and my note is literally Hunt clearly thinks she's a flighty little nothing, which will be especially hilarious when he ends up falling in love with her because she's witty, snarky, intelligent, deep with emotions, and like I just like it's like a four-line thing. I was like, ha 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 ha, oh Hunt, you're sitting here shitting on her for all of these reasons, and I can't wait until you fall in love with her.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he's like ruthless in his judgment of her in his brain parts.
Oh yeah,
he's like, oh, those stupid shoes. God.
The first 30 pages, probably like the first like 28, 30 chapters of this book, he's just a righteous dick to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
thinks that she's just a piece of shit, essentially. Piece of shit party girl. Mm-hmm. Which, like, I say that, but really ultimately, like, if you break it down by percentage, that's really not that long of a time, because that's really only like 30% of the, it's not even 30% of the book. It's like 25% of the book.
It's also like, I didn't mind it because it wasn't like this category of person is trash. It's like she's not doing what she needs to do to solve the murder of her friend. Like she's not putting in the effort to do this thing that should be incredibly important to her. Like what the fuck?
No, and like I'm not mad at him for it. Like I totally get where he's coming from, because like in this situation, I would also be like, what was that fucking book? I think it was you and Kim and Alexis read, where like it was a mafia book where she just
never looked for her friend.
Yeah,
yeah, that was Crow by A. Zaffarelli. Yeah,
like. That's what Hunt thinks is happening.
Right, exactly.
Hunt's like, are you crowing me right now? How fucking dare you? He says it on page.
He does. It's verbatim. Yeah, that's true. That's canon. That's right.
Are you pulling a Crow by A. Zaffarelli right now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is that a new sticker? Okay. So we
could we get sued for that?
So the governor shows up and she's like, this outrageously hot man.
Oh my God. Boy.
He's a full snack. And she's like, and he only like sort of outshines Isaiah and Hunt. And every once in a while her thigh will twinge because it's still not fully like healed and together or whatever. And he thinks it's because her shoes are too high that she'll like do a tiny like, a hesitation or a stumble when really it's her injury. And her injury that she kept for the same reason that she refused to go to therapy, because she doesn't want to get better, because she
Bryce
wants
is a queen of self-flagellation.
She's doing martyrdom. She's doing some martyring on herself because she feels so bad about Danica. So anyway, the governor's like, listen, everybody, Jessica, I need to borrow your assistant because there's like all these murders happening and it was exactly the same as Danica, etc. And then Jessica's like, what are you asking for here? And then his quotation killed me. So it says, Jessica's like, do I have to pay for this information? And he's like, no, I'm sharing this so that we might combine resources. Jessica arched a blonde brow with preternatural smoothness. To do what? Micah said, for Bryce Quinlan to find the true murderer behind this, of course. It's like, what? What kind of absolute kookery is that?
Yeah. Are you ready for my quote that I have highlighted from this chapter?
Yeah.
Bryce typed the codes into her computer, trying to ignore the governor staring at her like she was a steak, and he was something that ate steak raw and moaning. I was like, so, by the way, this comes back again, listener. The governor is hot to trot for Bryce. He wants in them panties, those pink teal panties that are literally cannon panties.
Lacy ones.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so essentially Michael, or I keep wanting, my voice to text is like, you mean Michael? Michael? No. But so essentially Micah is bringing Bryce on to help catch the killer, like a cuckoo banana pants. Because like, it's not like she's an investigate. You know what I mean? Like, what?
No, she doesn't have any experience in this.
But like the reason that she is kind of a suspect in this is because she was there. Like, she was obviously close to Danica.
Yeah.
Bryce is also was there with Maximus the night that he died. And this continued, like, they have suspicions now. And by the way, yeah, especially considering after 22 months of nothing, the person who was around Bryce gets shish kebabbed.
I mean, yeah, but also, like, she was around a lot of other people in those 22 months that didn't get shish kebabbed. You know what I mean? So, like, it's...
Yeah, but this was too...
It's weird. It's weird. But anyway, so they're like, we need Bryce to do this. And because we're out of options, we need to go, like, rogue on this. Because of the summit, I don't want my territory to look like, you know, politically weak or whatever, and I need to win. So Bryce is going to do this. And in order to make sure that happens, Hunt is going to guard her and, like, you know, make sure that she's safe during the whole thing. Hunt is pissed about this.
I love a forced proximity bodyguard romance.
Yes. Ooh, and it's like buddy cops. You know what I mean? It's forced proximity bodyguard buddy cops.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
so they don't really have any choice, but essentially Jasiba finally agrees when Micah is like, of course we'll pay. Like, which is so fucked up because Bryce still has to do her normal job.
Yeah, and Bryce doesn't get paid.
No.
Only this bitch does.
But then this is already off to a rollicking good start because on their way out, Hunt and Bryce are like fussing back and forth at each other and he's like not letting the door shut. And so Bryce makes the enchantment like him.
Yeah.
And like shoots him back a little bit. And he's like, ow, what the fuck? And to the point where he loses control of his lightning. And then she's like, bye. And just shuts the door in his face.
Yeah, she says, I'll call you. Don't bother me until then. And then the last line of this chapter is, Erd fucking spare him. Because Erd is one of their gods. Anyway, so I think this is where we're going to stop. So tell me your theory about Micah.
Okay. I think Micah knows.
What?
About Bryce. Or has an inkling.
Oh, about her parentage?
Not only that. Okay, are you ready for one of my bonkers theories?
Yeah.
And there's actually, we'll get into this later. Maybe I should save this theory for later, though, because, like, the thing that made me come figure out this theory happens later in the book. I don't know. Fuck it. I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no, I'm not, because there's a literal quote from later in the book. Okay, I'm not. I'll tell you about it next time. Okay, when we record next.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
Well,
so you're not
sorry,
telling
listener,
me
you'll
the
have
Micah
to come...
theory either?
No, because it all has to do with... Well, but like, so like I immediately was like, I think that Micah knows something about her, whether it's her parentage, and at this point I didn't know. I didn't know why, like what he knew, but I was like, he's got to know something. Like he knows that she is a part of this in a way that she should, like nobody thinks that she should be. And then more things happened in part 2, and I was like, oh fuck. So anyway,
that's exciting. Okay. All right. So the rest of this book and the rest of all 3 of the other ones are going to be on Patreon for the next at least 12 weeks. One episode a week for the next 12 to 24 weeks. Who knows, really?
Yep. God knows. Who knows? Yeah. And like, to be clear, listener, like patrons, you're going to get random shit.
Oh, yeah.
We're still going to be doing watch parties. We're going to do like roundups and things like that. It's just this is going to be our big main long running Patreon thing for the next couple of months.
Ooh. All right, Sabrina, what's your lady love?
My lady love is actually tomorrow is Thanksgiving. We are recording the night before.
Yeah.
I almost never do anything on holidays because I really just love chilling at home. Right? Yeah. Regardless, since I've lived here, I just don't really do anything for the holidays, right?
Sure.
Well, tomorrow, one of my friends asked if I wanted to go with them and their family to visit their grandmother in the nursing home for lunch.
Yes, please.
So I'm going to hang out at a nursing home tomorrow with
awesome.
Okay, so for context, listener, I love old people.
Yeah.
I fucking love an old person. My best friend where I live is a 74-year-old woman, and I love her to pieces. Like, and so my lady love is I'm a creature of habit, which means I want by nature to not do anything tomorrow.
Yeah.
But my lady love is when something really exciting pops up that like sounds really nice, just do the thing. It's okay that you're breaking that routine. Like, it sounded really nice, and so I was like, yeah, let's do it. So that's my lady love.
Yay.
Also, my lady love is old people. I really love an old person.
Totally.
I feel a real kinship.
Great conversationalists. Yeah.
I just like other people are like, oh God, another back in my day story. And I'm just like, fucking
give it to
tell me about it, old timer. I want to hear all about walking up the snow both ways in June. Like, yes, God, please.
Yeah. Okay, my lady love is mini pies. I sent you a photo today, Sabrina.
Is that what those are?
Those
They're
are
very
mini
cute.
pies.
They look so tasty.
Yeah, they really are. So I made an apple pie and a pumpkin pie, just like I do for every Thanksgiving and a lot of Christmases too. And then I had leftovers, plus I wanted like an easy way to like give, neighbors some fun things before they go do whatever they're going to do on Thanksgiving. So I made little mini pies, and they're so good. I think I like them better than regular pie. Because they're handable. Just grab it with your paw and eat it.
Do you make your crust yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have to because I can't use butter.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, this is adorable, and I really think you should post this picture.
I'm going to, actually.
Media. Good.
Yeah, or like something like it. I don't know. If I plate them or something, I might put that up.
Yeah, but we'll put that up with the announcement for this, or maybe.
I made little pumpkin pies and little apple pies, and the teeny tiny apple pies still have a lattice top, which made me very happy.
Ooh, they're so cute.
It's a janky lattice top though, because I didn't want to fuck with it, so I didn't quite do it all the way. But anyway, mini pies are the tits. If you look close at I was just laying shit on there at that point. I was done.
I love you.
Yeah. So one of my favorite things about them is that like they end up a lot of times with the crust I make, it ends up being more tender because I don't have to cook it as long as I need to cook a big pie. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't get as crunchy. And the secret, everyone, to a tiny mini pie made in a muffin pan is to make the crust really, really, really thin. Mm-hmm. And that probably sounds obvious to everyone else, but it was not obvious to me, Melody, the first year I made mini pies. And like they were good, but they were also like, oh my God, that's a lot of crust. Much crust. Yeah. Yeah. So make the crust really thin. Pop it in there for a good 18 to 20 minutes. Ooh, got a yummy little treat. Ooh, so yummy.
Those look delicious.
Yeah. Yeah, they really, truly are.
I did just realize I usually pick up a pumpkin pie from the store the day before Thanksgiving, and then I eat it like a feral gremlin all day long with a spoon and a can of whipped cream.
Yes.
And I forgot to buy that pumpkin pie yesterday or today. And unfortunately, I live in a small enough town where if you think anything is open on Thanksgiving Day,
no way.
You're kidding yourself.
Yeah, no way. Yeah. I also made my own whipped cream.
I might actually hit you up. I have canned pumpkin in the cabinet.
Hell yeah. Do it.
Maybe I'll just make pumpkin pie filling.
Yeah.
And bake a bowl of that. So it's nice and warm.
Do you have a flour?
I do have. I don't know how to make pie crust.
Oh, I can walk you through that easily.
Okay. All right. I already know my lady love for whatever the next episode is. The lady love is going to be whatever fucking monstrosity that I build with
hell yeah.
Melody. I sure don't have a pie tin. So I'll figure something out.
A casserole dish might work.
I have a Dutch oven.
Hey. I
have cast iron.
Okay. All right. That's how the pilgrims did it, Those pioneers.
You know what? Well, you'll get an update, listener. I'll be sure to take a picture of whatever the fuck I come up with.
All right. Keep being a badass and love yourself as much as you love 12 weeks of Maas. Yeah.
On the first day of Maas,
Maas, my true love gave to me.
Bye.
Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by Melody Carlisle.
Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, leave a nice review, and of course, tell all your friends about us, even if they don't read romance.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram @heavingbosoms, on TikTok @heaving_bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult.
Head over to our website to sign up for our newsletter, get our Reading Embrace printable, and check out my audiobooks at heavingbosoms.com. All right, we'll be back next week with more swoons and snark. See you then.